Hi everyone, I am Brittany the Cosmic Lunar Soul. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to all my subscribers. Today we are doing a tarot tag. This is the hashtag one card tarot tag by at Moon Scarab. I'll link his video below, but I found this through one of my faves, Amethyst Ascension, so I'll make sure to link her video as well. Basically, it's 10 questions. I'm going to choose one tarot card for each, and well, let's go ahead and just get into it. I will be using my Prisma Visions deck by James R. Eads. This is an oldie but goodie, and I thought it would kind of really make the prompts really interesting and curious. So let's go ahead and pull the first card. Question number one, which card is the most inspiring to you? I chose the Ace of Pentacles. I really like this card. Well, I like Pentacles in general, so I'm a little biased, but I really liked this card specifically because it shows like an you can look at it a few different ways, but I feel like you have this door that is open to something that seems very magical on the other side. I think you can see that. You can see kind of like the sparkles and what I translate as like, you know, a magical pathway almost, or just like opening to your spirituality, just opening to bigger and better things. So it's like this door is open and like, you know, you might have had these walls up that were blocking your way before, but you finally have a path forward and you have a path into something bigger and better. And I just really think that is inspiring. And what's really cool is I found a doorway that looks very similar to this when I was in Seattle, and I just had to take a picture. Also, doorways are liminal spaces. I feel like that makes this a little more intriguing, I would say. So, yeah, I think this one, the Ace of Pentacles, would be my most inspiring card. Number two, which card is the most distressing to you? I chose the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is supposed to be a distressing card. Traditionally, you would see the Nine of Swords as like this person in bed, and you can see the swords on the wall, and they're kind of like grasping their head. But in this one, it's almost like this person has given up. And the swords are actually the teeth of this giant swan here, and it's almost like this person is just giving in to the stressors and anxieties around them, and it is very much so a distressing card. And if you so the way Prisma Visions work, the minors create a panorama. In the next one, it shows the person with swords all through them, and this giant swan is carrying them off. So it's like the card right before you kind of see this person in the act of just giving up and giving in, and it is a distressing card. It's supposed to be distressing, but it definitely does its job. All right, number three. Which card is the most enigmatic to you? So I couldn't choose. So I chose like the relationship between some cards, and I went with these two. I went with the Six of Swords and the Eight of Chalices. In this deck, chalices is cups, if you're not familiar. I went with this because when I was learning tarot, there's a these cards are very nuanced. They're very similar to each other, but there's slight nuances that the change the meanings between them. But on its surface, it's about walking away or moving on from things. It's just there's this the connection between the two. It's like in my opinion, the element of what you're walking away from. So swords, you know, this is all about an internal process. You're mentally deciding that you're ready to move on and put things behind you. And I like this card because you're metaphorically walking across the bridge into something new, right? Whereas cups, it's harder because this is more of the emotional aspect of things. And it's not that you're mentally putting things behind you, it's that you're emotionally walking away from things. And just because you do one doesn't mean you do the other. And I really like the connection of the two here. And you could, and also, so swords here is very much a winterscape, and cups in this deck is very much like this colorful, moving. It almost looks like the sky is full of like moving lights. Um, but you see some of these aspects here as well. And I think that there draws this really nice connectivity between them. And it almost looks like the air flowing, which correlates back to the swords. So I would say that these, I would say, are most enigmatic, at least together. I couldn't really think of anything else, so I hope you guys like the way that I processed that prompt. All right, number 4. Which card would you put in the 1,000 year time capsule for the future of mankind? With this, I went with Judgment. This is one of my favorite Judgment cards because it feels less like biblical judgment that's happening and more of a like a universal thing. It feels more like you're opening the theoretical door of the universe, and you are looking to see what is on the other side. And whatever is on the other side, it's it's something different because it's colorful, and it's inviting, and it's the next stage of getting to like that enlightenment. But it doesn't feel so much like angels and whatnot are judging you based off of your. I know that's not what judgment means, but that's what the card feels like, the traditional imagery of the card. And this one feels very much more like the feel and soul of the actual judgment card, where you are walking along and you're on the path to enlightening and awakening and kind of discovering oneself and coming into. It's that last step before you reach the accomplishments of the world. And it's like this card is just saying you just have to take a few more steps and go through that door before you get to that point. And it feels very much more what's the word, not relaxing, but feel comforting. It feels very much more comforting. It doesn't feel as like, oh gosh, what have I done wrong my entire life, as the traditional judgment cards do. And I think that it would be a cool card to show in 1,000 years, because it shows that judgment doesn't have to have that biblical feel to it. It doesn't have to feel like pressure to reach that awakening. It's just a next phase of life, and it's just a part of life. And everybody does it at their own pace and has different results at the end of it. So I really like this judgment card. All right, number 5. If you were elected president of a new country, which card would you use as a flag? I went with the 9 of Cups. So I like the peace and serenity that is going on here. I like that this person is kind of one with nature. I feel like, you see the different colors that are represented here. It would make for a really awesome flag, in my opinion. And even though it's a really complex image, most flags are really basic, I feel like. I like that this is showing either a sunrise or a sunset, and people can interpret that based off of what it is that it's up to their interpretation. All right, so this one's kind of similar. Number 6, if you were Earth's ambassador to an alien civilization, which one card would you use to represent humans? I couldn't decide whether I wanted to go super cynical or optimistic, but I ended up going fairly optimistic. This is the 10 of Pentacles. I think that humans are awful sometimes, but then there's points where, especially when humans are forced to come together, they can really surprise you. And I think that that's the part that I want to relate to aliens, is that while there is a loud minority that is just god awful, I think as a whole we would there's this connection between everybody, and there's family, and maybe one day we will get to that, whether it's in my lifetime or not, or maybe the arrival of the aliens would force it on us. But yeah, I think that that unitship. I don't even want to say family. It's that unitship between the connections of people really drive them together. And you see that a lot during natural disasters. While there are like the handful that might not riot, they might loot and stuff like that. You see a lot of articles about people coming together to help people in need when they're not able to help themselves. And I've lived through natural disasters, and I've seen how people come together, and I've been on the receiving end and giving end of that. And I would like to hope that this is something that the aliens, especially if they're deciding our fate, that this is something the aliens would see in us. All right, number 7. Which one card represents someone you love? I went with the 8 of Pentacles. So this is, I feel like, representative of my mom, both literally and figuratively. You can see her watering her little garden. My mom in recent years has really started to get into gardening and really liked it. So I thought that this was a very literal take. But then, of course, there's me. She's also always been nurturing. She's always been supportive. And she always, anytime I wanted to do something, she would always nurture that idea. She never put any ideas down. I mean, as much as we joke and shit talk each other, she's always supportive of anything that I set my mind to. And she has helped me grow into the person that I am today. So I just think that this is a really awesome card. And I hope that she sees that too in herself. Number 8, which card would you use as a cover of your autobiography book? I would use the Hermit, and I would use this card specifically. I like this Hermit card. It's intriguing. It's dark and mysterious, but still has a little bit of color in it. And you can kind of just see the figure in the background. And I think that this would make really cool cover art, while also I like the concept of the Hermit. I relate a lot to the Hermit. It's one of my favorite Major Arcana cards. A book of, I feel like my autobiography would be the story of me discovering myself and, basically self-reflection, introspection, all of that. And I think the Hermit is the perfect representation, or representative rather, of my autobiography. And this would be the perfect cover art for it. All right, number 9. If you could upgrade any Minor Arcana card to the Major Arcana card, what would it be? Honestly, this one was really hard. I liked how Amethyst Ascension did it, but I kind of had a slightly different thought than her. But I like that we were kind of on the same page in a bit, in the sense that I really wouldn't, like, when push comes to shove, I wouldn't upgrade any Minor Arcana. I think everything kind of fits how it would fit. But if you told me, like, hey, you need to make a decision, like, what are you going to change, I would actually get rid of the court cards, and I would make each of the court cards, so I'll let me lay them out and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so this is laid out very weird, but bear with me. I'm laying them out this way just due to the space and the way that these videos are set up. But basically, we have our pages all the way down to our kings. There we go. Mix them up. But I would change the court cards, and it still works out, because I would change them not by suit. I would change them by archetype. So I would have our pages represented in the majors. I would have our knights represented, queens represented, and then the kings represented. And because So you could do it the other way, but I like it this way better because if I was going to do it the other way, I would actually do what Amethyst Ascension did. But instead, I think that um, because how people relate to the court cards, because of the representation, a lot of times they represent people, or represent like really specific things, whereas like the ones through tens represent situations, like general topics and stuff. This tends to be, it tends to just maybe it's the way I read too. You guys will have to let me know in the comments, but I feel like this tends to very much reflect a lot back on the current, or the person they're asking about, or the situation they're asking about in a very specific way. So I tend to think that these represented, like if there was a page, a knight, a queen, and a king in the majors, I think that would make a lot more sense to people and maybe be a little more relatable and easier to process. Um, and the thing is, too, you can still have those elemental representations, sort of, because to me, pages are earth, and then knights are fire, queens are water, and then knights, or I'm sorry, kings are air. That's up for debate, but that's the way I do it. So you guys can suck it. I'm kidding. Um, but I think that's what I would do. I would actually change, I would get rid of all of these. I would get rid of the individual courts and just have four major courts. You would have your major pain, your major page, your major knight, your major queen, and your major king. So, yeah. I know it's probably a little weird, but final question. If you could mentor one of the pages, which one would it be? I originally was thinking the Page of Pentacles, um, because I kind of see myself in the Page of Pentacles, but then I really thought about it, and I think I would mentor the Page of Swords, because I feel like if you look at the journey of the minors, I feel like the Page of Swords is coming off the most tumultuous journey. And basically, swords is the journey of intellect, the journey of gaining knowledge. And sometimes that's just hard. And I think that the Page of Swords, I would mentor them. I would tell them, it might not have been an easy journey, but it will definitely be worth it. Me being an outsider looking at the journey all the way from 1 through 10, then page through king, knowing that you'll get to that king state and being able to say, hey, you will eventually be in control of your own mind. You will have that wisdom that you feel like you just can't get a grasp of at this stage, at this age, whatever it is. And as you go through the night, you'll start to feel ambitious again. You get to the queen, you feel like you can finally start to nurture yourself, start to nurture others, and then you get to the king and you feel like you've finally reached the stage where you have you can finally settle down and you feel like you have gained all of the skills you need to master your own mind. And that's hard, especially if you really think back on it. Coming back from, I showed you that Nine of Swords card, and I explained the Ten of Swords card. You're coming back from this journey that's ending in anxiety and feeling like you've been betrayed, and just swords in your back, that kind of motif. Coming into this page mode, it makes me think of like a really smart middle schooler who's bullied for being smart. That kind of journey. That's what this feels like. And telling the page, like, this is not going to last forever. You can use that intellect for a plethora of things and really get really great things out of that. So yeah, I think I will go with mentoring the Page of Swords. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was a really fun tag. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard to pick some of those cards. That's why I went with the Prisma Visions, because it was challenging and I wanted it to be challenging. What's funny was, if I wasn't going to use this, I was going to use my traditional Rider Waite, but I'm really happy I defaulted to this one. So if you guys are going to do this tag, make sure you tag me so I know to watch your video. Comment below, let me know what you think. And make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. All right, bye guys.